That's tarte tartin, made with an entire bottle of wine. Puff pastry, 166 grams of flour, 20 grams of sugar, and 6 grams of kosher salt. And butter's not butter. You want the higher fat content of European stuff when making puff pastry. It makes a difference. Now the key is to squish the cold butter with your fingertips, making it flat, but you don't want to break it up too much. Till you get the right texture, big pieces, little pieces like that. Then you can add the ice cold water, a tablespoon at a time. Start with 4 or 5, no more. That's gonna be enough. You know how I know? That's how I know. But this works best if you wrap it tight in plastic and squish it with your hands, hydrating the flour. Best if that goes in the fridge. We're using anjou pears for this, known for their natural citrus flavor, which will work perfect for this dish. And their flesh is perfect for baking too. After you peel them, slice them up the middle. You don't want that core, of course, nor the woody spine that follows. This dish marries two classics: pears poached in red wine. What kind of wine? Grenache, Shiraz, Malbec. Sadly, the whole bottle. Keep another one for drinking. 300 grams of sugar that you want to dissolve along with spices. Think mulling spices: coriander, cloves, star anise. Molasses will richen it up. A vanilla bean. And I'm going to sneak in a few Szechuan peppercorns. You could add cinnamon, but I think it's interesting if you omit it. Now all we got to do is poach those pears. We need to soften them first. That flour is hydrated, and you can see all that beautiful butter, but it still can take some flour. That we're going to give it by rolling it out and folding it in a process called booking. Flour it and do it again. See that butter smudging? That's what you want. Book it, wrap it in plastic. That's got to firm up, and we got to repeat that process 2 more times. Once your pears are nice and tender, like that, set them aside. Fish out the remaining vanilla bean and spices. We need this to concentrate and reduce. Red wine caramel. Those tiny bubbles indicate we got a syrup, and it's time to add our butter, 85 grams. And that's how you make red wine caramel. Of course, you can buy frozen puff pastry and start from here, but it ain't gonna be this good. For this, we give a final roll. The idea is we roll this out big enough so we can cut out a circle for this 12-inch cast iron pan. But first, we have to add that red wine caramel. Notice how they're perfectly shaped for this dish. You want to stuff them in edge to edge. See those beautiful layers? That's why you make your own dough. Just make sure you tuck it in, as this will be the bottom later. And you want this to hold all that stuff. Egg wash, of course. And that's going into a 400-degree oven. Those pears are halfway cooked, but that puff needs to puff. 25 minutes later, look at that. The first thing you want to do is flip it out. Try not to make a mess and let it cool, I guess.
I love pears. And that pastry.
Fuck yes.
Those flaky layers. Look at that. You get all the essence of pear.
Who doesn't love pears?
Infused with that mulled wine syrup. That's a really trippy dish to taste.
An entire bottle of red wine and puff pastry? I'm in.
This is something good to do with pears. Who doesn't love pears?